Hey guys, welcome back to Agency Crypto. We have finally broken out of this range that we've been in, and we've had a big move. The longer in this, the tighter these little consolidations get, the bigger the move is. Of course, I don't really follow fundamental analysis, but I do enjoy going back later and looking at the catalyst. We had President Trump making some very bullish comments on crypto. And so then that was enough to finally let people make a decision, and the price broke out. And normally, because I don't look at fundamental analysis, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Sometimes it does work out pretty good. Once in a while, I will reference it. But the reason that I don't look at it is because the price tells me everything I need to know. You know, like if I want to speculate that the price is going to go up, then if the price is actually going up, I really don't care what the reason is. You know, if I go and position myself long, then I'm making money. I don't need to know what the reason is. So, you know, if people enjoy that and it works well for them, then that's great. But I don't usually look at it until after the fact, and that's if at all. A big move like this will get me curious, and I'll go take a peek. But ultimately, it doesn't matter to me what's going on. He made a positive comment about bringing Hyperliquid to the United States, and because right now it's not available to United States citizens because we have a bunch of lame rules that are there to mainly, they're under the guise of protecting the little guy, but really they're there just to thwart the little guy's effort. They don't want little people to get rich, and if they do, they want to make sure that they're set up in a position to take as much money away from that person in the form of taxes as possible. So we don't have Hyperliquid in the United States, but they are working to bring that in there, which is a good thing. Because Hyperliquid is a good tool that we can use to trade. So we have stopped pretty much right where I've anticipated, which is around 79,000. I think this will probably be a local top. This is a daily chart that we're looking at. And the reason that I'm suggesting that this is the top and we'll probably retrace here, at least for the short term, is just simply looking at a larger time frame. We're just looking back here and looking where did we see support and resistance in the past? Well, we had a really strong level here at 79, right around 7, just say 79.5. We have a touch here and a touch here, so we're probably going to stop there, and that's exactly where we stopped. And we started to finally retrace. Most likely, it'll retrace here. It's Friday as I'm recording this, so the weekly candle has a couple more days to go, and that'll probably retrace. That doesn't mean that we can't go higher than that. It has to break this level here, this 82, what is that, like 82,750, we'll just call it. If it breaks that level and closes above, say on a weekly candle, then there's a good chance that these are the bottoms. But I'm not convinced that that'll happen. You know, I still, if that doesn't happen, or until I see that happen, I'm still a little bit more bearish before we start going back up. So I'm not bearish on Bitcoin overall, but I don't think this is the start of the next bull run. Now, one thing that could change, one option that I have in the fire is that the bull run could potentially start earlier than it normally does. Now, normally it would start, say, somewhere in 2027. But what we see happening is that as every cycle goes by, people start getting a little bit wiser. And they're like, for example, well, this last bull run, I made all this money, but then the markets crashed and I didn't get to sell out. And so now I was left holding the bag. So next time, they're not going to get me with that trick again. So I'm going to sell out early. So what happens is everybody starts bumping back, the actions that they take. So instead of waiting until, the last, like December of the last what would be the fourth year of the cycle to start selling, people start selling in November or September or over the summer, like we saw this last one here. This is August and July. And so, what's this all about? Well, people are just trying to get out early so that they don't get left holding the bag. And what happens is as more people start doing that, these tops will get pushed back more and more. So the next bull run, the peak, instead of being over in December or over here in the summer, maybe it's like in the spring. You know, maybe it's like March or February, who knows, you know, like, but the same thing will happen when people start buying. They're like, well, last time I missed it, so this time I'm going to start buying early. So like, if you look at it from that perspective, there's a realistic possibility that the bull run could start sooner and it could again end sooner. But we'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, I need to see it break this little area here and stay above there on a significant time frame, which would be weekly or monthly, and then I would be convinced that we're going back up. Otherwise, I still think that we'll stay in this range for several months and possibly come down here and touch somewhere closer to 50,000. Maybe one more final major sell-off to shake out the weak hands. You know, that's what I think we'll see. We always see that, so why wouldn't we see it again this time? We haven't really seen that yet. But this is how the markets operate. They test the resolve. They know that there's always a lot of people in there who are playing with scared money, and when they sell and or there's people who are over leveraged, so they're going to liquidate those people. They're going to shake out the weak hands. They're going to scoop up a ton of tokens at these lower prices, and then that they position themselves to make the most money going through the next cycle. And that's how the smart money does it. So same thing with Hyperliquid. We've got some bullish comments regarding Hyperliquid. This is one of the ones I really am strongly going to be watching this particular cycle because it has not had a proper pump, you know, and it's a decent token. Yes, it's ranked like number 9 by market cap right now, which is very substantial. But that doesn't mean that it cannot have a substantial pump. It doesn't mean it can't do a 10x from here. So just under normal circumstances, I think it has room to do a 10x, but if it climbs up the market cap ranking just a few notches, even temporarily, then you've got, you know, potential easily 10x, if not more than that. So I think this is a really strong play for this coming cycle. SWE is another one that I am really kind of bullish on. This one has had a big pump. However, it's got a lot of good things going for it, and look where it's at. It's down here as low as it can get. This is an easy, you know, just back to its old all-time high. There's 600% right there, and I don't see any reason why it couldn't go past that. So same thing with Solana. This is the probably the peak of this move here. Most likely, it can still go higher, but most likely we'll start to get a little relief sell-off here. Okay, so we have a few trades here that have been have taken place since the last video. So we'll go ahead and take a look at those real quick. This trade right here, which went from the 16th until the 17th. This trade took place 100% on autopilot. I did not intervene in any way. It hit a trailing stop, which was a little bit too close because as a buy trade here, we see what happened. It went on to, like this literally bought way down here. So the bot bought here. There's 25%. But the problem is, I did not have I had a neutral bias. If I had a bullish bias when I took this trade, one thing that I could have done is either turn the trailing stop off or widened it up substantially. So right now it's just kind of at a happy median where it works well most of the time. But if there's so many options with this bot, so that like if I'm bullish, I can just toggle the settings to make it more conducive so that I could actually pick up this whole move. And that's part of the manual intervention part, where you can step in and look at the chart and say, like, here's kind of what I think is going on. Let me tailor the bot to do, in favor of that type of a move. So let's see if we can find out where that one is. I think it was this one here. So that was that one. The next one was right here. Now, this says negative 76%, but it's not negative 76% of equity. I think this is representative of the percentage of margin that you're using, which is kind of a strange way to measure it. But what happened on this trade, we took, let's see, it was this one here. So this was a short trade. the bot entered short, built a position, and then what happened was, as it went up, it started going against the position, which is completely fine. All right, the bot is designed to handle that. And what it will do is dollar cost average. And with the current trade, we can see just how that works. But on this particular trade, what happened was the stop loss was on there by default. And so I went ahead and I canceled the stop loss and got rid of it. And I thought that was that. That would be the end of it. But then what happened was the bot put the stop loss back in. It saw that there was no stop loss, and so it set the stop loss back up. And meanwhile, I wasn't paying attention. And so what happened is it hit this and stopped out. So that ended up being a $225 loss. But, you know, this is number one is testnet, so it doesn't matter. And number two, this is the purpose of me going through these trades right now, is to push the limits, figure out the nuances, and, you know, make some strategies accordingly. So now that I'm aware, you know, kind of how the stop loss is kind of functioning, you know, in the future I can account for that. Otherwise, this wouldn't have been a problem, because as we see over here, and then there was a third trade, this one right here. This started as a sell, and then I closed this one manually just because I wasn't convinced that we weren't done going higher, which is what happened. So we went higher here. This one started as a sell as well. I figured this would be fine. We've already gone this entire distance. And by the way, before this trade happened down here, I lowered the risk down to the lowest setting, whereas these other trades were running, I think maybe 4 times higher than what these were. So these are on fairly low risk. So this last trade, we had a sell signal. It built a position here, and then price broke out again and started moving against us. And here we are up here. And like I mentioned before, I think this is a local top, so this is fine. What will happen is this price should retrace and go back below this entry price. You know, so here's a perfect example where it literally doesn't matter which way the market goes. The bot, and it doesn't even matter if the price moves against you with your original entry. The bot can still accommodate for that. So that's we'll leave the video at that for now. But again, we're just going to be watching to see what happens here on, you know, some of these larger time frames. Like this is the monthly chart. We want to see, I need to see Bitcoin get above this level here before I turn just generally bullish. Otherwise, you know, I still think that there's more bearish price action. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on this bot right here, and we'll keep an eye on some of these other tokens here that we're keeping an eye on, like Hyperliquid. And Hyperliquid is looking really strong right here. Like this could, you know, there are a lot of tokens that move against, you know, the normal trend. Like if Bitcoin is setting the dominant trend here, most altcoins will follow Bitcoin, but there's always some outliers. There's always some tokens that will get a big move, even like they'll start moving up dramatically, even though Bitcoin is selling off. And that's just because, you know, that's their time. And so Hyperliquid, that time could come soon. It doesn't necessarily have to wait for Bitcoin, so we'll keep an eye on that one too. So that's it for this one. We'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to keep up with what's going on over here with the trades and the conditions of the market. So we'll see you guys in the next video.